Hey, what's up guys? I'm in the mood to talk about prepping. One of the many things I talk about here on YouTube. But, like I said, I'm in a prepping mood, so just thought I'd talk about it. I was actually going through an old tub of stuff that I had in the closet. I found a bunch of crap that I was eventually going to make videos on. And this was like, 9 months ago. So it's pretty cool, so expect some cool random videos in the near future. But this is one of them. And this is the Pennsylvania Emergency Preparedness Guide. Okay. When I got into prepping, when I moved to Pennsylvania, I was interested in getting some kind of a guide. I know there's tons of books out there and there's a lot of great forums and people to talk to, but I was wondering what the state that I lived in had to offer. And I heard through the forums that most states, if not all, should have some kind of a guide. But it's not like they just leave these in front of ShopRite or your grocery store, or gas stations and stuff. You gotta like go looking for them, So I did a little research. I basically, because I'm in Pennsylvania, I went to Pennsylvania, the official state website, which every state has one. And I got some phone numbers and I called around and I asked. And after 3 different phone calls, I finally found someone and they're like, yeah, we got those things hanging around the office here. Give me an address. I'll send you one for free. And they're free. Obviously, it's public literature. You're allowed to request them for free. Don't be expected to pay for it. But I thought it was interesting. And I have to say, I am very pleasantly surprised at how they put this together. And I think it covers all the bases. Of course, it is a somewhat of a vague guide for preparedness, but it covers all the different aspects of what could go wrong and just some general information. I think for a hardcore prepper, this may be a little too simple for you, but for the average person, I think it's great. And I want to just go over this one specifically and kind of encourage you guys to, whatever state you're in, contact your state and ask around. See if you have a version of this. If you do have a different version, obviously you're in a different state, I'd love to see a video response on it. I don't think anyone has ever touched upon this subject, and that is what the government has to offer as far as information on staying safe through an emergency. So anywho, here's how it looks, and I love how there's a Maglite on there, which we all know in our little private community that the Maglite is, whoa, it's outdated. There's so many cool flashlights out there. Speaking of which, I got an awesome flashlight I'm going to be doing a review on very, very soon. It's one of the new Claris models, the XT10. Sweet, sweet light. But anyway, wow, that was off subject. Yeah, look, the good old Maglite, huh? I'll tell you, in an emergency, people do have them, and they will use them. And just because we have better flashlights and much, much brighter and smaller flashlights doesn't mean anything, because before we knew what was good, what we thought we had was good. So, the old Maglite for the win. So let's take a look at this thing. First off, let's look at the back. There's a plethora of different phone numbers and contact information for different counties. I think it's awesome. It says for more information on local emergency management planning in your county, call, and they break it down. How awesome is that? Really, really helpful. I mean, all that contact information just right on the back. I think that is pretty cool. And here's some other websites, Pennsylvania related. Pennsylvania Homeland Security website, Department of Health, Emergency Management Agency, Poison Control, Red Cross, Trauma Center, Trauma Society, Ready America. Pretty cool. And the old, in emergency, call 911. Yes, we all know that. Okay, so anyway, let's get into this, the meat and potatoes, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, obviously. I mean, I suppose I could, but that'd be a little bit boring. First, let's read the cover page here. This is a message from Ed Rendell. And it says, a message from Governor Edward G. Rendell. At this critical time, educating Pennsylvania's families on how to best prepare for a natural disaster, large-scale emergency, or unexpected attack means more than anything. Although we cannot always prevent emergencies, there are many things we can do as individuals, employees, families, and organizations. You need to know there are well-developed and well-practiced emergency response plans at all levels of government. Emergency responders, both paid and volunteer, are part of a national incident management system that requires countless hours of training and practice to provide a seamless response to citizens across Pennsylvania and the entire United States. The system includes all the resources available to governments at local, state, and federal levels. At the core of this effort is the important issue of citizen preparedness. This guide provides tips on how to respond in an emergency and will help you and your family prepare your home in case of disaster. Many of the ideas discussed will be beneficial to you before, during, and after an emergency. When you have finished reading this guide, you should be well informed and ready to protect yourself, your family, your neighbors, and your community. Edward Rendell. Very cool. Okay, so that's how the whole thing starts off. And then of course it's broken down into different parts. I'm just going to read you some of the titles here. Tips of emergency, or excuse me, tips. Types of emergency. On top here, making a winter emergency car kit. First of all, like I said, all the information here is very straightforward and very informative, and I think it's great. It's a great guide to go on. Of course, you're going to want to tweak it to your own personal needs. But if you want, pause your video right there and take a look at what they have to say about a winter emergency car kit. I think it's great information. Some stuff you might not normally think of. Little section here on tornadoes, flash flood safety rules, thunderstorm safety rules, other types of emergencies like a biological threat, chemical threat, radiological threat, other terrorist threats, watch and listen, Homeland Security Advisory. Of course, they break down here the different color levels, security levels: low, guarded, evaluated, or excuse me, elevated, high, and then severe. A pandemic influenza, which is actually something that is very possible. Oh crap! I was watching something in the other room, and I had it on pause, and it was too long, so now the TV kicked on. So if you happen to hear something in the background, it's just my TV. Anyway, let's see, emergency preparedness for special populations. This discusses what you can do to help people with disabilities or elderly people. Very interesting. Neighbors helping neighbors. I think this is going to be one of the most important things in a real disaster, is really helping each other. I think, and I mentioned this in a comment not too long ago, but if you see like riot footage, we're all animals, and in an emergency it really comes out, and it's kind of disgusting to watch footage of like riots because we are just incredibly cruel animals. But depending on the morale and how severe the situation is, of course we can all bond together and really help each other out to make the whole thing go as smooth as possible. There's a whole section here on dealing with infants, toddlers, and children. Moving on, pets or livestock. Something you might not normally think of during an emergency. I'm going to read this little section to you right here. And this just says, prepare an emergency kit. An emergency kit. Like, I don't know, Bob? Bailout bag? Something a lot of us preppers do videos on, and maybe I'll do an update video in the future on mine, because mine has changed quite a bit since I first did mine. When I first got into it, it was a very hopeful bag of goodies, but it was half loosely based on primitive living, which is just not. It was more of a hobby thing as far as what my bag consisted of, as opposed to a serious helpful thing. And it's definitely changed so that it's extremely useful, and there's no wasted space or anything like that. So I'll probably do an update video in the future on that. But anyway, I just want to read you what they have to say here. So again, a little tip from the government. The same people who you think are watching your videos and thinking that you're crazy. A lot of people say, yeah, these prepping channels, the government's watching them. They're keeping an eye on these wackos because, they're going to start some stuff. Well, I tell you right here, it's no different than what the prepping channels are telling you. The only difference is that people see those as extremists. And for the most part, they're not. They're just people who really care about their family and friends and themselves, and they want to make sure that they're prepared. There's nothing wrong with that. Alright, so here's what they have to say. Often during an emergency, electricity, water, heat, air conditioning, or telephone service may not work. Preparing an emergency kit ahead of time can save precious minutes in the event you must evacuate or go without electricity, heat, or water for an extended period. You should consider including the following items in your emergency supply kit. At least 3-day supply of water, 1 gallon per person per day, something we've heard all the time. Non-perishable packaged or canned foods that does not spoil quickly. Blankets or bedding, a battery-powered radio with extra batteries, and a first aid kit, and prescription medications. Let's just flip over to the next page, continue to read. Prepare an emergency supply kit. Move this over a little bit. There are 6 basics you should have in your home in case of emergency, in case of any emergency. There are water, food, a first aid kit, clothing and bedding, tools and supplies, and special items. Items you would need in case of a evacuation. I feel like I'm reading in 6th grade or something. You know, they pick on you. Your hand's certainly not up, but you're in English class, and they're like, "All right, we're reading this story aloud. Johnny, why don't you go ahead and read this first page?" And Johnny's just like, "Holy crap, not me." That's how I feel right now. Like, I'm doing the video and I can edit this out, but I gotta keep it real. And every now and then I will stumble on a word or two. So anyway, items you would need in case of an evacuation should be kept in an easy-to-carry container, such as a large covered trash container, a backpack, or a duffel bag. You also should keep a smaller version of a disaster supply kit in your car. Below are listed some items from each of the basic categories, which you may want to consider. For more information, visit, and then there's some websites here. But look how cool this is. They break it down into sections. Okay, the first section is water. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of options there. You're going to want your 3-day supply, at least. Clothing and bedding, specialty items for adults, for pets, food, tools and supplies, first aid. I mean, and they have this in a format where you can literally just take this whole brochure or packet and just check off what you have. And if you're getting a kit together, you could circle the ones you want, and as you're building your kit, check it off so you can keep track of what you have. And of course, you're going to want to rotate through, you know, food and stuff. You don't want to leave in there forever, you know. But pretty cool. Pretty interesting. And then, of course, in the back here, this is perforated, or, you know, so you can cut it out. Emergency preparedness information. Remove and post this page in a prominent area, i.e. next to a phone or refrigerator. Retain this guide for future use. A good place to store this is in your emergency kit. And then this is where you're going to keep all your important information. Phone numbers, out-of-area contact, local contact, nearest relative, family work numbers, know your location when using a cell phone, utilities, family physicians, blah, 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 blah. I really like this guide. I have to tell you, like I said, I was extremely pleasantly surprised that there was enough work and research that went into this. It's not just some 2-page thing that says, you know what, if there's a disaster, make sure you got a banana in your pocket and a gun on your side, because it's going to be tough. I mean, I didn't, when I talked to the person on the phone, which, by the way, you wouldn't think so, but talking to people who work for the state was very, very pleasurable. And the guy on the phone, he's like, "Oh, that's awesome, it's really cool, you know, you're looking into this, you know, and I wish you the best of luck for preparing." He was very, very nice. I really appreciated that. So go Pennsylvania for that. But the guide is, like I said, for someone who's really into the whole prepping thing. It might be basic, it might be something you already know for the most part, but you know what? We all have room to learn, and you may pick up a tip or two in here. But definitely a must for just the average citizen, because there's some things in there you just might not think of. And plus, of course, it's something you can keep in your bob bag. God forbid something happens and you need to kind of refresh yourself with what you should be doing. Now, most of the information here is preventative maintenance. It's not something you just throw in a drawer and, okay, you know, we just had a big disaster, let me break this out and read it. Because obviously, most of the stuff is about preparing, and you need time to prepare. You need time to, you know, get the money together to buy some of the things that you want to store in a case of emergency. But I think it's awesome. Really great idea. Like I said, pleasantly surprised. I thought the state did an excellent job putting this guide together. Highly recommended. Completely free. And like I said, I'm not sure if where you live, your state participates. Again, this is obviously in the United States of America, so any foreign viewers, I would really be interested in finding out if people from different you know, towns and cities from different countries have something similar available to them from their government. It'd be really interesting to see that. But please, all video responses are welcome if you have anything like this. I mean, it's supplied from our government. Of course, there's lots of great guides and books out there that you might have to go to, you know, bookstore and purchase. I'm talking about what we have free to us due to our taxpayer, you know, tax money. And just thought it was really cool. So anyway, Pennsylvania Emergency Preparedness Guide. And again, loving the old school Maglite there. Gotta love it. A little outdated, but honest. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe it got you thinking a little bit. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.